Hello everyone, it's Amy and welcome back for another Journaling on a Budget Extra, and we are making a lap book. So this is what our lap book is looking like so far inside, and we've completed our right side as far as we're going to do for now until we get to the decorating. And last time we did this envelope, and I put this pocket in afterwards so that I could cut the little hole, but I've got that in. I cut a piece I cut a little strip here so that we could make a belly band, and I thought about doing a pocket like over here, a side tuck, but we've got the envelope here, so we're going to do a belly band so that we can slide something in this way. It will slide in very nicely because if you try and go this way, it's going to catch on the lip of this envelope. I did do some stenciling on the back of here while we were away, and the one thing that I still have to do is I have to take a wet paper towel or a wet napkin and erase this glue off of here so that it doesn't glue our belly band to the envelope. And I forgot to do that before I stenciled. It doesn't matter because we're putting the belly band on there. Even if I had put it over here, it wouldn't have made any difference. But we want to get rid of that. So we're going to have to do that. And then I put in the pocket here after we had cut it, but I just hadn't got the little part cut out there. And then we've got the envelope, and we're going to need to put something on the envelope here. I did edge this in pink, realizing that we're going to have a gap all the way around, and I didn't have pink there. I put pink inside the envelope here, even though we're going to eventually put a file folder in there, but it will come out. So when it comes out, we want that to look nice behind there. And I chose a paper here to put on the outside of this envelope. So we put in a belly band and a backing paper there. So we'll just start with this one here. And what we're going to do is we're going to take, this piece has been cut just a little bit shy all the way around the envelope. And the top is just a little bit longer than our envelope. Our envelope stops here. We're going to draw around that so that we get the right shape for our envelope to put it on the front. So we're going to put this in here, and the only thing that you want to really make sure is make sure that you center it so that when you cut it, it's going to fit centered. And then you also want to make sure that you're really getting all the way to the bottom of your envelope so that it fits. And then I'm just going to take a pencil and I'm going to draw around the outside of this envelope. And then we're going to cut just inside the line. Whoops. So that we'll have the right shape to put on the front. Just kind of making sure that I actually got my pencil marks everywhere. Okay, so I'm going to take this out, and then this is what we have. And so now we're going to cut this out. And I did this to fit approximately, about 1/8 of an inch or so all the way around. So that's how far inside my line I'm going to cut, so that the top part is about the same, has the same edging as the rest of it. So I'm just going to carefully just follow those lines, leaving a gap of approximately the same distance on each all the way around. And the closer that you follow those lines, like there's a curve, so I made a curve, the better it will look when you put it on your envelope because it will match up really nicely. So I'm just going kind of slow because I really want to have a nice border there. So this is one of those things you do want to take your time on. Some things you can just kind of chop, but then we can save that. We can maybe make something out of that later. I'm going to hold this on here, see how it fits. And it fits pretty nicely, but I think I need a little bit more of a gap. Now instead of drawing all the way around this or cutting all the way around this again, I'm going to slide it down a little bit and see how it looks. If I slide it down a little bit, it looks really nice. It still fits. All my angles are correct. So I'm just going to cut a little bit off the end down here so that we'll just have our gap there like we want, instead of having to cut around the whole thing again. I'm just going to use my chopper and do that, but I'm not going to bring it in front of the camera. There we go. And I'll put this back on here, make sure that it fits before I glue it down. And that looks really nice. I like that. So I'm going to edge it in pink. Kind of slide my book out of the way while I'm doing the edging so I don't get all my pink little goobers down there. It's time to change my need to change my sponges, but I never remember to do that until it's time to use them. Then I'm too lazy to do it then. So we'll just get this around here and that'll make it stand out. There we go. Move this over. Brush those out of our way. And then we're just going to glue that down with Fabri-Tac. And this just really finishes off. You could just like paint your envelope, or you could leave it in collage on it. There's a lot of things you can do. I like the looks of these on the envelopes when I put them on there. So we're going to go out to the edges. And get some in the middle. And the Fabri-Tac really is a nice glue. It's also a lot like the Beacons 3-in-1, which I used to use all the time. And then I found the Fabri-Tac, so I started using that. It's a nice quick grab. That's what I like about it the best. So there we go. And now we still could put something on there if we want to, some stamps or some collaging, or just leave it like it is because it's really quite pretty. So there's what that looks like. Much better than it did. Okay, and now we're going to do the same thing with this one, and I have a piece of that card, and I'm going to put this one right on here. And I'll be right back. Sorry about that. Okay, I decided while I was away that I would go ahead and we're going to get this glue off of here so it has time to dry while we're cutting the other one before we glue our belly band on there. So I just have a damp paper towel that I've squeezed out, and I'm just going to rub over top of that glue and then change spots and do it again. And you'll know when there's no glue left because the glue is kind of shiny. So when it's not shiny anymore, you'll know that you've removed all of the glue. Check kind of along the edges, because sometimes when I don't get all the glue, I just didn't get it quite right on the edge. So just get that all wiped off of there. And thank goodness it's under where I was going to put the belly band, so I don't have to worry about that showing. But if I forgot to do it and I was going to leave this just like this, I could get my stencil again after this is dry, put my stencil back on there, and re-stencil my flowers. So it wouldn't have been, you know, it wouldn't have been a huge deal. I would rather do that than to leave that glue on there. Okay, so I'm going to just give that a little brush. And then we're going to do this envelope here. Now, this envelope doesn't have any inking on the back side. So I'm going to go ahead and do that really quick because I had forgot to. And this one I'm going to edge in the brown, which is, what is it, tea dye. So just get that all around carefully because I don't want to get it all over everything that's around it. And a little bit here on this edge. There we go. Now, I think I want to ink the inside of that too. So, I need to grab a piece of paper or something here. Here's the one I was using before. I'm going to take this file folder. I don't want to get that ink. I'm going to leave this plain because not everything has to be super busy. And I like the color of that with the paper. So I don't want to get my ink on that part that I want to leave plain. I'm going to turn this a little bit so I can get at it a little bit easier. And it's a little bit fiddlier if you don't ink until after you put it in the book. But it's definitely worth the little bit of time that it takes. Get right up to that corner so I don't have a plain cream colored spot. There, that looks good. Now we're going to do the same thing with this one. Now, I could put this paper on here, but this one here has a little fairy and a couple butterflies. Now, this butterfly is going to lose a little bit of his tail, and this one we're going to pretty much lose the butterfly, but I love that fairy. So we're going to do this. Okay. We're going to put it all the way to the bottom, and then we're going to draw around it. And this was a scrap piece of paper, so it's going to be a little bit short, and that's okay with me because I really like this piece of paper, and this is the one that I want to use. Okay, so there we go. I'll start from this side so I can see my line and cut just inside my line. There we go. And now this is going to fit right there. And again, I'm going to need to cut just a titch off the bottom. See if this is enough. Yeah, that works out just fine. Now, I can put something up on these corners, you know, if I decide to later, but they don't look bad, especially since we edged them. And I'm just quickly going to edge this before we put it on. And I think that the brown looks nice with the pinks. And I know that because they're putting brown and pink together on their paper. I always have a hard time knowing what colors look good together. But if you look at a paper pad you're working with, that will give you colors that you can use that you know will go together. Because if the designers can put them together, so can you. So there we go. And now we've got our little fairy on here, and we didn't lose that butterfly. I thought we were going to. And we've got him there. He only just lost a little bit of his tail. And so we're gonna glue this one on. And our other side then should be probably dry enough to put our belly band on. And if once you get things glued together, you have spots here or there that are lifting up, you can always go back in and just touch a little bit of glue there. Just going to kind of make sure that that looks centered. Give it a press. Whenever you're doing something like this that has a photo on it, like my fairies here, make sure that you have the photo going the right way, especially like that, because you wouldn't want her upside down. So there we go. We have a belly band here, we have a pocket here, and a pocket here, or envelope. Put that one, nope. I like it that way. Okay, then we have a pocket here and some writing space. Then we have our envelope with a pocket on the front, and again, I like this because it's going to keep our envelope closed. And then we're going to put, and that is nice and dry now, so all we have to do is put our belly band here, and that part will be constructed. Now we may go back in and do some decorating, especially on that pink envelope right there. I think it needs something on the front, but we'll figure that out when we do the decorating part. So here we go. I'm going to put this right to the top and kind of center it over my little part right there. Get that pressed on. There we go. And I do like the cream on the back of this envelope too. You can see the embossing nicely. And, you know, not everything has to be so covered, because sometimes, especially in books like this where you're using lots of colors and lots of tip-ins and tip-outs and pockets and tags, and it can get too busy. So, but this definitely needs something. But I really like the plainness of this tan. It goes nice with that. And I like the inside of this other little one also, where I just left that little bit of tan right there. And we can always do something with that, but right now I really don't want to. So we've got our pocket here, and then we've got the front of our book that has a little spot we can do something with. So all I did was I took one of my envelopes and I stenciled the back and put a napkin on the front, and then I cut the flap off because it was a big flap and it had brown edges, which you wouldn't have seen them because they'd glued down, but you know, I didn't want that great big flap coming across my book like this, because once that's glued down, that's where the flap would be. And I didn't want to have to cover it because I really like the blue of this paper. So I've done this, and then I'm not going to do anything underneath. Maybe we will put something here. Maybe we'll put a pocket here or something. I'm kind of thinking I might want to put some writing lines here. So I'm going to leave it for now until we decide later what we want to do with it. I did edge the edge of our envelope with some of the blue Distress stain. And so I am just going to glue this down. And if you don't want to just glue it, you can always put a little piece of washi tape across it. So let's see here. I'm going to put it right about, I'm going to even it up top to bottom. Okay. Slide it back just a little bit and hope I didn't have too much glue. There we go. And then press that down. And there we go. And you're better off, I'll tell you this, but then I never do it, but I should. When you have this glue, if you press everything down nicely and a little bit of it sticking out, let it sit for just a little bit to kind of dry. And once it's dry, you can just run your finger across it like this, and it will just roll right up and come off. If you don't wait for it to dry, it will smear a little bit. And then it's harder to rub it off, but it does rub off fairly decent. Okay, so there we go. That's our front. So now we have this really pretty picture in the front, which was a napkin, and then we have that opening. We have our pocket, we have our envelope, our tag, our belly band, another, not tags, pockets, and a couple more envelopes, and another belly band that we're going to stick a book into. So now the next video that we'll do will be putting a section in here and doing the back of this one here, which I didn't want to do this until I decide what we're going to do this color wise, so that they kind of go together because they're right there next to each other. So that is the end of this part, and this is what we have so far. So this piece here will be kind of wide, so that will be the last thing that we do here, and then we'll do our center journal. So there we go for part 7. Thank you very much for stopping by. I really do appreciate it, and I hope that you all have an outstanding day. And this isn't 7, I think it's 8. I don't know. Have an outstanding day anyways. Bye-bye.